spiritual experience. You know what time it is. Bang, bang. Crow Mags. $19.89. Come on. What up, everybody? Yeah, man, just getting everybody in the mood. You know the deal. We're back. Spiritual experience. What up, what up, what up? Okay. Yeah, man, turkey's done. That's it. Turkey's over. We shut down the speaker. Pick-a-doo. All right, yeah, so we're back. We're doing the damn thing. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody who celebrated. My apologies to the natives. And, all the shit that they got to see every year around this time of people like, throwing fucking candy yams and turkey wings and mac and cheese in their face, reminding them of the atrocities. So I always give a shout out to them, man. They're spiritual folks, man. Shit, bro. What did we do? We stuck them on what are they? The reservations, left them there. And then we're like, oh, yeah, but we can, you guys can have casinos, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, it's sad. It's sad. But, that's the way of the world, man. The white man is, it was his turn on the fucking wheel, during our lifetime, Natives were, one, whatever, what do they say? One wrong doesn't unwrong another wrong or something. I don't know. But, bro, all you got to do is read about before the white people got here and how fucking wild it was. And like, hey, that's just the way the world works. Just white people got the upper hand for some reason, for a little while. And they're fucking losing their grip on it. And some of them are freaking out. And some of them, like me, I don't give a shit. I got white skin. I'm a little brown on the inside, a little Hebrew on the inside. Baruch Hashem. So it don't matter, man. We're all one people. You're either you're either with us or you're not with us, bro. That's it. What is I always quote this guy. Oh my God, man. He sings, hey, look, Google Bordello. It's amazing. Yeah. He has a song, Illumination. Incredible quote. There is no us and them, but it's them who do not feel the same. And that's true, man. There is no us and them. It's just, it is what it is, Everybody's on their kind of best behavior. Drinking this ultraviolet Monster Energy drink. Trying to stay, I don't know. I'm an ally. That's the purple color is the ally, right? What do I know? I don't know. Yeah. So I'm doing that. We had a great time. I did not go down south this year, and that was okay. It was cool. I was gonna chill with my mom, but my mom is like very Puerto Rican, and she pulled some Puerto Rican shit, and it's I don't know, man. There's just so much stuff going on in my family at the moment that I'm just trying to. I'm staying out of the fray. I'm like, hey, man, like, who's doing what or whatever. I don't have any. I don't really have any opinions. I'm like, fuck it. This is what's going on. This is what I'm doing, and that's it. I went today. Actually, I went today to go look at a wedding venue with my boo, and yeah, man, it was an emotional friggin' thing, bro. It was. It was an emotional experience. And, you know, she's like very low key. She's way smarter than me. She keeps the trap shut. Me, I'm like fucking, I'm a yenta, man. I can't wait to fucking give it all away. And just blah, 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 you know? And these guys, like, you know, they, you know, it's so crazy because, you know, part of the Jew is like very, either everybody's my friend or, what's the other thing? The other thing is like, oh, they're all, what is this? Is an email? Ooh, new Reddit. Taibbi. Nice. Anyway, so like either everybody's my friend or everybody's trying to get over. Like nobody's just doing their fucking job. You know, when I let that part of the bad part of me take over. So like this guy, like, you know, we walk in there. It's me, my girl, and my little boo. The 16-year-old, they came with me. And she's everything on earth, man. I'm like completely in love with this little girl. Yeah, man. Jesus. It's fucking gross. You know, I'm just like, whatever you want, I'll give you whatever you want. Yeah. So any guy that has a daughter, that just shows them like a little bit of love, you know what I mean. They can do no wrong. So either way, three of us go in there and like, we're kind of like in the vestibule area. And there's, you know, they're showing the venue to other people. So there's people a little bit running around. There's people in one office to the left that are, you know, doing whatever. We look to the right, and there's this guy, and he's there. He's just like fucking counting fazools, you know, just blasting out fucking money. You know, he's just counting it out. I just looked at him, and he gives me a, you know, the thing. Like, you know, like fucking, what's this guy, man? See, the vaccine fucked me up every time. I used to be very quick and very good, but now I'm not. Bobby De Niro, when he's calling over, you know, Henry Hill. Hey, come here. You, come here. So that's what he does. He gives me one of those, hey, come here. And he just waves me in. I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know, first of all, I don't like people waving at me like that. Yeah, I'm not a fucking errand boy. But he sees me there, and then I go, he's like, have a seat. You know, and I bring my woman in there, we sit down. He knows that I have an appointment. And, yeah. So, and he puts all the money away, and he's, you know, he makes one of these jokes. He's like, yeah, you know, I count a lot of money. That's not mine. I'm like, all right, I get it. You know, I get it. Either way, so he goes through the whole thing. He looks up our information, how many people you having. I'm like, 175, whatever. You know, he's like, oh, all right, not bad. This, that, and the third. And then he starts busting. He's like, hey, what's your name? I give him the name. He's like, oh, that sounds very familiar to me. Now, right away, I'm like, number one, I have a plug, right, in this place. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm supposed to look for this person. The plug is this guy or whatever. He's like, oh, that guy's, he's the head of this thing, blah, blah, blah. I know who sent you in here. And it was my dad. He's like, I know your father. I know, you know, it's one of those. I know your father, so we're going to take good care of you. You know what I'm saying? So when he gives us the, you know, he's basically a guy with fucking fat sausage fingers, as my boy Tom would say. No pinky rings. And he's got an all-black suit on. His fucking hair is impeccable. He looks like maybe, you know, if he hit you with the first two shots, you might go down after that. He might cough up a lung, you know, from all the fucking Winstons he's been pulling on since the fucking 70s or whatever. Either way, so he goes through the thing with us. He's like, listen, here's the plan. The plan is this. Bam, bam, bam. You get this, this, and this, and it's for this price, whatever. And then I'm like, okay. I'm waiting for like, I'm like, you know, because like they give you, you know, they give you like all these, not all these different options, but they say, okay, well, you know, if you want to be a fucking cheapo, this is the way to go. He's like, this is the bare bones minimum fucking, basically it's like, paper plates and popsicle sticks for the kids, and then maybe we get a cotton candy machine or something. You guys get an Entenmann's cake and then call it a fucking night. That's the way he was. That's not what it was, but that's the way he was describing it. Like, this is like, yeah, if you're not you get, whatever. I'm like, all right. Then he busts out the other thing. He says, but for this much more, which was only like, when I mean this much more, it was like nothing. And that's what drew the fucking alarm to me. It's like for $10 more per person, So if you do the math, right, let's just say, right? By the way, that Cro-Mags thing was incredible. You should go find that. So let's say 170. You invite 175, maybe 150. Come, $10. We're talking about $1,500 more per, yeah, right? Yeah, so say 150 show up, right? Times 10. He's like, so for $10 more a plate, which is only $1,500 more, he's like, hey, you get all this shit. And it's basically like fucking everything from fucking raw bar, sushi to fucking a dancing bear. It's like, I'm like, how could I get all this extra stuff for like fucking only $1,500 more? And then he's like, the tax and the this and the that. And I'm like, I'm being like sold already, only because a couple of things. Number one, this is the venue that my woman wants. Number two, we have a fucking plug. And the fact that the both of them are there at the same thing, and he's like, he's doing like which is everything for me. I'm ready to, whatever. Ready to make it happen. He's like, yeah, so you get this and you get this, you get this. And we take it. He's like, he shows me all the, basically these two packages, you get the fucking wooden box or you get the fucking, you get the penthouse, for $10 more, you get the penthouse. So I'm like, all right, I was like, it also, it's great. And then he's like, but, if you want, then he starts with the add-ons. You can add this on, you can add that on, you can add that, and he's like, and then, the numbers start swirling around. He's like, normally we charge this, but I can, because of, he's giving me my discount for the plug, allegedly, right? He's like, but because of your dad and who you are and whatever, we can do it for this. And we'll just do this at cost and at this. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, bro, I'm a business owner. And, and I used to be a swashbuckler on fucking Wall Street. And, I know a lot about the psychology of sales, which is why I'm such an easy fucking mark, And that's the thing. They say really good salespeople. You can't even say salesman anymore. They'll fucking cancel you on Twitter. Actually, they won't. Shout out Elon. He brought the fucking orange boy back for no reason. Either way, for me, it's just for comedic whatever. Yeah, orange boy is just a funny guy. And he's kind of kicking the tire of a fucking vehicle that don't want to move. So, the really good sales people are normally sold very easily, and that's my thing. I'm like, yeah, he's like, yeah, this, that. I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, whatever. Okay. And then he's like, then he does like the soft thing, right? First of all, the wedding's going to be incredible. And it's going to be incredible because it's many years in the making. I've been engaged for fucking 7 years, dog. And that's the truth. If I pull up my phone right now on Facebook, I've been engaged for 7 years. Like, I am technically like the woman in some cases in the romantic part of my home. I am like the woman in this case. You know what I mean? Because of that. Because it's like, hold on, memories. Zac Efron. Fuck out of here. Yeah, I think I got engaged. I don't know. Well, today's my godson Timothy's birthday. But before that, yeah, and either way, so I got engaged, 7 years ago, whatever, 8 years, 7 years ago. I'm gonna say 7, and yeah. So But whatever. She took the ring. And in my mind, I'm like thinking like, yo, we're going to get married within a year. And then here we are now finally picking out things. And a lot of it has to do with, or all of it has to do with emotional growth, which we both needed. I thought I was ready. I thought I was ready to but I wasn't ready. I bought the ring and I did that and I got on my knee in the kitchen. I couldn't even hold on to the fucking ring. I couldn't even hold on to the ring. And I got the ring in some, I got the ring from like a man, another plug, where you go into a room where they buzz you in and then buzz you in and then there's people in cubicles putting jewelry together. Little Chinese ladies like with the fucking super magnifying glass up in their face, and bad friggin' skin and whatever, and these little tweezers, and they're putting stones inside of things. Either way, right? So I get that, and then I can't even hold on to the ring for a day. I get home, I'm like, I showed it to one of my kids, and I was like, I'm gonna give it to her right now, because I'm very bad at that kind of stuff. So either way, so I got engaged. I went on my knee while she's in the kitchen making something. I think she was making cornbread. I know she wasn't frying chicken, but she was making something. And she was like, "Are you kidding me?" She's like, she thought it was a joke. I had to turn around, and then I was on my knee, and then I busted out the box like with the ring. I was like, "I want you to be my wife." She's like, "He's like, are you fucking serious?" Like she was in shock. I was like, "Yeah." I said, "But I'm not gonna show you the ring till you say yes, She was like, yeah. I was like, okay. I opened and as she was saying yes, I opened the ring and she was like, holy shit. I was like, it's right. I ain't fucking around. Jews don't fuck around when it comes to jewelry, Either way, yeah. If I let my Puerto Rican side get it, it would have came with a fucking nameplate, which would have been just as romantic, I promise you. Those old school name plates that they put on chains. So either way, so I'll get back into that story in a minute. Right? So I'm happy to be in this place. So this guy now, he's saying to us, I'll show you the place, but these are the packages. And, I want you to shop around. I want you to be like, he's like softening up, right? Before, this is like a whole funnel, And then he's like, let me show you the space. So he starts showing us around. We're like, oh my, first he asked for some dates and then we give him some dates or whatever. And then he's showing us around. And, it was dope. And it's like, dude, I like this. I love that. I loved everything. I loved everything. It was like, it was meant to be. I loved it. And I love the fact that she loves it. So I can just be fucking like, all right. All right already. Instead of like, I can't even imagine going fucking place to place to place to place to place. And like, the only thing that maybe we're going to ask him about is about the food. The food looks incredible, but we definitely going to have some fucking Spanish food in there. I don't care if I have to pay for it on my own. And which I mean, obviously I'm paying for everything or have it catered from outside. But like, listen, we're going to need this, and this. In order to move forward. And, how do you propose we get that done? So, there's that. Okay, now, here's the thing, right? So he's taking us around, whatever. And then at the end, I'm very happy. And I told my girl, I was like, listen, I got to stay quiet because I'll pull the trigger right now. Like, here, take it. And the number so far is the right number. And I know that number is going to grow. Like the first number is not the last number. Because then it's like, bro, I mean, we already know who the photographer is. We already know who the florist is. These are people who've been cheering for us for a long time. Especially the florist. Fucking Jimmy over there at June Florist on 18th Avenue. This guy, he's like a machine gun, but he makes the best everything. Shout out to Adam Lopez. He had his flowers done by him. Best fucking guy on earth. But like, they should make a show about his store. He's something that you have to see. He talks 100 miles an hour. He's an Italian guy from fucking, Dyker Heights, Bensonhurst, whatever you want to call it. He lives near the Dynasty on 85th Street. Either way. So every time I go in there to buy my bouquets to bring home, which is every couple of weeks because I don't fuck around, he's like, when are you going to get married? You still with a Puerto Rican girl? What's going on over there? You going to get married? You're going to get married? What are you going to fucking marry, bro? You've been engaged forever, bro. It ain't working out. It's working out. It's working out. It's working out. What do you got? Make him a bouquet. He's doing that, right? For fucking, I've been with my girl like 9 years. He's doing it 7 years. He's doing this shit. Busting my balls, So, but he's a wonderful man. And he's going to be so happy. He's going to be so happy. He's going to give me a hug. Him and his brother Peter, man. Between the two of them, they're like fucking, Heckle and Jekyll. So anyway. So whatever, the guy gives us basically the number. He's like, I'm going to give you a deal on this. I'll give you cost on this. I'll give you the, he's telling us all this big discount that he's giving us, right? And I'm okay. I'm okay with it. And I'm very grateful. Actually, the guy that I was it wasn't even the guy that I was supposed to go see. It was somebody else. But the guy who I was supposed to go see comes walking in, and the guy introduced me, and I was like, yeah, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I'm guy's son, whatever. And, he kind of, I was like, where's the bat? I wanted to, A, I had to pee, but B, also to step away with the guy, just to make sure, like, I'm on the up and up. I've been around enough things in my life that, when you're getting straightened out, you got to make sure that you're not stepping on anybody's toes. And you can't be so obvious with that kind of stuff. So I step away with the guy. And I talked to him. I don't know if the other guy's going to get the sale or what. I don't know how that kind of shit works, but you got to make sure that the appropriate people get whatever they need to get, which is respect. You know what I'm saying? And acknowledgement. So I walk with him. I talk. He's like, yeah, no, this guy's he's a good guy. I do this other thing, whatever. He says, listen, your dad, he saved our ass 100 times, like whatever he did. My dad's known these guys for a long time. I was like, all right, cool. I appreciate that. He's a gentleman. I'm a gentleman. He's a maniac. I'm a maniac. It's a good thing that I made up with him last week also, because that also, it doesn't come into play, but he wrote the name down. So either way, so we get the thing, and at the end, the guy's like very funny, because he's like, look, really, I want you guys to look around. I know that you love the place and whatever. And we've been going to a lot of weddings lately, and we loved every one of them, but we want to do our own thing. So he's like, here. He's like, look, this is a good number. And then he makes a joke. He says, if I know him, he's pointing at me. He says, I know him. He's got it on him right now. And then my girl looked at me because she knows I do. Like I can empty a clip, and then that's it. Like, yeah, it was funny. It was a funny, awkward moment because she was like, you're not lying. He has it. We have it. It's not he and, but yeah, we're up right now. We're up. So, yeah, so I have it. Either way. So we're like, we're leaving there, and it's funny because one of the things that we want to do is really just be ourselves, but also still have like a lot of, class. And listen, nobody's going to be playing fucking domino, spades, and dice at my fucking wedding, yeah. And now if you drove a block away and you did that on your own, there's going to be plenty of people that you can play with. But at the wedding, it's not going to be that. But we're also not going to have all this fucking bar mitzvah music. We are family. And all this like pretentious, soulless stuff that we see Dog, my boy Amer's wedding, he had a DJ and he had the fucking guy running around with the fucking conga playing it. Like he did it it was him. You know, and that's what we want. Like, and it's hard because like a little part of me, like, you know, we'll have, if you let me, you know, do everything, we'll have a fucking, you know, a Wu-Tang section and a fucking mosh pit and Martinelli's apple cider, you know, and fucking vodka for everybody else or whatever, you know. But that's like going to be in our flavor. Like, you know, we get to be who we are. So we were talking about this, like, yeah, she's like, you know, we got to really, you know, we have to pick a DJ and then this is what we want. We want our music, good music, and we want good food. And we want everybody to come. Those are our three things. And he's like telling us like, yeah, you know, if that's the number, because the number of people I gave him included, you know, kids and whatever and this other shit. He's like, yeah, people under, we wrote it down, something like people under 12 are half price and babies, there's no charge. And I'm like, dog. I don't know if he knows, you know. But, yeah, so I was like, okay, perfect. You know, because that's the thing we want. Like, it would have been good for me if I had if I rented out the gymnasium at PS 161 where we met in the Bronx when I was in kindergarten, because that's where we met. I would rent out the whole gym and have all the kids running around. As long as we had incredible food and really good music, I wouldn't give a fuck about anything else. You know, we can get married on the playground where her and I was 5 years old, and we used to buy like those coquitos and like those little ices that basically, you know, the guy scrapes and he puts in a little white Dixie cup. We used to buy them through the fucking fence, you know, on the playground together, me and my fucking girl, when we were 5 years old. You know, yeah. So there's that. So we're like, and we are who we are, you know. So that's who we are. So we're gonna want. I told her, I said we should have a coquito man outside making these things because the wedding's going to be in the summer, blah, blah, blah. And we're just like, yeah, we got to be on top of the DJ. Like, he can't be playing any of that fucking, any of that regular, you know, stuff. He just can't play it. Like, we can, you know, we can understand if that's somebody else's culture, but we have our own culture. You know, I mean, I'm going to talk her into fucking getting on top of the chair and we're going to be throwing her in the air just like anybody else. But, yeah, there's going to be a lot of salsa, a lot of rap music, a lot of reggae music, a lot of R&B music. It's going to be our day. So, and that's what's cool. And we're also happy about that. My little one that was with us when we left, we went to go get something to eat, and she was saying like, she's like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. The place and the fact that this is happening. She says, I almost started crying in there. I was like, oh, man, me too, a little bit. You know, because now it's like for real. You know, and it's a long time coming. And the long time coming is because, you know, just because I got my jersey doesn't mean, and I kind of made the team, doesn't mean I didn't I had to learn how to play. You know, and that's what I was, you know, going back to like, you know, how long I've been engaged, and people fucking break my balls about that. Like, they're relentless. You know, they are relentless. Like, people, they fucking break my balls, man. Like, bro, how long you been engaged? What the fuck is going on? You know, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what you want me to. They think it's funny because people think that it's me. They're like, yeah, boy, you buy the ring and now you get the, you know, and I'm like, dude, no. In this situation, it's her. She's the one that's been holding up the fucking train. And it's because, you know, we've had a lot of they're not even bumps in the road. Like, we really have had to get to know each other in order to really make it work over the last 7 years. Then now I think we're both ready. It was funny because I was commenting we went to my cousin's house in Connecticut for turkey. And it was just funny to me. Like, listen, me and my lady, if we, I don't know, me and my lady, if we get into like real argument, like a real one, I don't even know what a fake one is. It's got to be like maybe 5 times in a single year would be a lot. I'm going to go for like maybe 3 or 4 times that we actually get into like an argument, you know? Yeah, I mean, it used to be 3 or 4 times a month, you know, or once every other week. Like when you first move in, like I got engaged after we moved in, within 6 months or something, I think. And even by then she was asking my sister-in-law, Natalie, she was like, yo, is the apartment still available? Because me and this guy, I don't know if it's going to fucking work out. Because there was just so much, there was just so much debris to sift through, you know? You fall in love and all you're doing is eating and fucking and fighting and eating and fucking and fighting. It's like a crazy cycle, right? But like, and then, everybody's just like, not everybody, but like there were things that I was quiet about and things that I yelled about and vice versa. And we was quiet and yelling about all the wrong shit. All the stuff that I was quiet about was the stuff that I should have been like, we need to figure this out together, and all the stuff that I was yelling about was like bullshit. It was like zero, it was meaningless. Because then all the quiet stuff, once we stopped yelling about the yelling stuff, which took, let's say, 2 years for that, right? And then all the quiet stuff that we didn't pay attention to, then that comes up, and then you yell about that. Right? And that dragged on. And, I'm going to say we've been in couples therapy. I think we went to 2 different ones. I'm going to say 2. We tried to be smart. Like, it's so funny because you don't know. Bro, you don't know. So we tried to be smart, and we're like, oh, we're going to move in 6 months before we go to move in. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be a good, sober, spiritual person. Meanwhile, I was sober and I was in recovery, but I was a good human for a single father. I was not a good partner at all. I've been holding on to that one for a minute, but yeah. I was not a guy. I didn't know how. It's not that I wasn't a good partner. I literally didn't know how. So I thought the responsible thing would be for us to go to couples therapy first, right? I'm taking off my wash floor boots. I'm sorry if it's noisy. Yeah, putting on the feelers. So I'm like, yo, let's go to therapy together. We'll go to couples therapy. Because I was just used to, providing for. I had 2 modes, right? Providing, a few modes. These are all the bullets I had in my gun. I can provide, that I can do. I can go out there and I can find the bag. I can do it. But I felt, not consciously, maybe subconsciously, or maybe it was because of the kind of home I came from or where I came from, that the providing means that you can fucking bark. So I was good at that. I was good at providing, good at barking. Now when it was just my son and I, that's kind of like what I did. And he complied. And I threatened and I promised and he complied. And we were both growing up at the same time. So it was a different thing. I was 30 years old. I was in my early 30s. I'll tell you right now. It was 9 years ago, so 43 minus 9. Dog, I was 34 when I met my fiance. 34. And my son was how old? My son was 18. You know? My son was like 18. So I think he was already starting to go to college and whatever. When I met her, we moved in, I think a year or two later. He was already 20. He was already getting out of the house. He was like, you know, so I didn't have any. By then, he realized some of the stuff that I was teaching him or that I was barking at him about, like, was real shit. But, you know, I also, you know, I only had those skills. I didn't have any other skills. I knew how to not drink, how to stay sober. I knew how to show up. I knew how to make money, provide, and that was it. I didn't really have any partnerships with people up until then. I had like, you know, I'll give you the best 6 months of your life in the beginning. I was really good at that, man. You know, when I was dating. I would have 4 women or I would have 1. And if I had the one, I was like, all right, you're going to be my one. That would last 6 months. A year would be like a fucking, you know, geez, a year. It's like 10 years, you know, because that first year is like madness, you know. So, yeah. So, anyway, we get together, we move in, 6 months, I get engaged. I think I'm, you know, but I don't have anything. I don't have anything to offer except those things. And those things, you know, if she started making a different choices, not even better, just different ones, she could do on her own. So she didn't 100% need me to do those things. You know, she was in a transition going from one kind of career to another one, but she would have got it together. She would have found a way because she's fucking brilliant and she's fucking quiet. And the brilliance and quiet is like, she's like super well-spoken and she has emotional intelligence. She's observant, you know, and I learned a lot of that from her and also learning how to be like that in order to keep her. So, yeah. So we have been working on our relationship. And somebody was talking about it today at a meeting. And it was good. And I love this lady. I don't want to say her name. Hopefully she'll come on here soon. But she was talking about her marriage. And she was like so fearful. You know. And that's basically what I was. I was so scared. You know, you're holding on to control. I need this thing. No. I need this. This is the way I like to do things. This is the way I like to think. This is the way I like to behave. Like she's like, I'm so scared to just allow things to unfold a day at a time. You know, and that's what we've been doing. And it was painful. The painful part was letting go of the control and all of those things. And so we went into therapy, couples therapy, and the therapist first told her, like, yo, you need to come in here on your own. This kid is like, because I can spit some AA axioms and some spiritual, emotional fucking tools or whatever. I can put on a good show, you know. So I can show up to therapy, and I've been in I've been in and out of therapy for, you know, the last like 10 years or whatever, right? I'm not in right now, which is okay. So yeah, and then after a while, then some other shit, and then yeah. So we were both growing up. She needed a lot of work, and I needed a lot of work, and we needed to work with each other. And things that I, things that I just didn't know, and things that she didn't know, and tools that we didn't have. You know, it was funny, again, going back to Thanksgiving when I was talking with my cousin and his wife, when I was like, I said it like jokingly, but they were like in shock that it wasn't a joke. I was like, nah, dog, like we don't yell at each other, you know? And they were like, yeah, whatever, it's funny, haha. Like, you know, kind of brushing it off a little bit. I'm like, no, like for real, like we don't. Like we don't yell at each other. And we don't, and it just, I don't know, one day we got to a place where that just stopped. And I couldn't tell you when it was. I couldn't tell you, you know, how that happened. But it happened. We don't yell at each other. We don't call each other names. You know, we don't. Now, it doesn't mean that we agree on everything. Yeah, but we used to yell, fucking the yelling and the name calling. Because, you know, you have this resentment about these other things. Like I said, the things that you are quiet about. You have these things. And then when they come out, it comes out. It used to come out with like a fucking sledgehammer. And it was just basically, there was a lot of things that were just like simmering, you know? And what we found by just having all those explosions, it was that, you know, really, we didn't have all the information from each other. And I know I use that a lot when I talk about like emotional recovery and sobriety and just me getting along in the world. That's the biggest tool that I learned from being with my woman, you know, that she's not out to get me. So when we have a conflict, that's not it. It's just not. She's proven many, many times that we're on the same team. And I need to remind myself of that. You know, now I don't have to, but I used to have to. Like, bro, you know, I can't be trying to bend this person to my will. You know, and vice versa. She doesn't, man, I'm very lucky. Listen, she ain't perfect, I promise you. And there's plenty of things and ways of doing things that I don't agree with. And there's a lot that I do that she doesn't agree with. But we have space because we are on the same team. And it's just been really a beautiful story as it unfolded. You know, and one of the things that, and so that's why I thought it was funny. I was like, I'm not lying. Yo, like we don't yell at each other. Like, I can't even tell you the last time I really yelled at her. Or her or me. If we had like a stopwatch, it would be at least a few years. Maybe 2 or 3. But time goes by so fast. Because I know some of the stuff she holds on to and derelictions of my, you know, morals, if you want to call them that. They legit happened 5-6 years ago. She'd be like, no, it was 2 years ago. I'm like, no, because I can show you different areas of our life that has happened since that incident happened, and it's been 5 years since that has been around. So, yeah, no, it's no, but it's okay because it just means that that's not completely healed yet. But everything has been healed enough that we went and looked at a venue today. And, you know, so some of those things, and so that's why, like, when my sister-in-law, she got into a little bit of beef with her guy, and, like, she's like, yeah, we're broken up. And it was like an impulse, like, you know, yeah, it was just something that I guess was brewing or whatever their story was. We felt so sad for the moment, not because we love the guy, because I do love the guy. The guy Tony, I fucking love him, you know. But I know what it's like to push eject, you know. I know what it's like to do that. And there's so many other things involved. There's kids involved. I mean, they don't have kids together, but the kids know this guy, his kids know her. Like, you know, there's all these other things that are involved, you know. And that's what happened to us almost a couple of times that, like, dude, I could have told, you know. There's so many times I thought this was going to be over. And I thought this was a line in the sand. And it really was. It was a line in the sand of my old self turning into more of my new self. And that's what it was. And allowing her to be like, okay, you know, I'm going to, you know, do this. And she's been in therapy also and whatever. So now the conflict, like I said, is more really, I mean, the conflicts we have now is just me, you know, I don't know how to handle my middle kid. And I just, and I'm out of ideas. So I'm just cool. I'm civil. I love them more than they can ever imagine. You know, they're going through their own stuff, and that's it. So I just kind of let them know this is what I let my girl know this is what I think, and this is why I think that. And then they get defensive, and I understand because they probably think I'm always picking on them, and I'm like, dog, because you are way too lenient on them, and which is why they are the way they are. But you know, we're probably both a little bit wrong and a little bit right. So there's that. And one of this, so that's a big jewel that I learned, and that maybe I could leave with you guys a couple of them, that one and another one, which was the big jewel is obviously if there's a conflict, it's because both parties don't have all of the information. A lot of times that's what it is. Now, there can be a disagreement or you cannot agree on something and do that without there even being a conflict. You know? But most of the time, if whether it's a person or, you know, that is platonic or romantic or whatever, a lot of times it's that. It's that we don't have all the information. And the information can't be coming out with a fucking machine gun, you know. And sometimes I got to say, oh, I'm sorry. I'm missing something. What it sounds like to me is this. Not, well, you said this and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, to me, what it sounds like is this. What it sounds like you're saying is this. And they'll be like, no, that's not what I said. I said this. I said, okay, well, then I misinterpreted and misheard what you said, and I apologize. Because I just want to, I want this to be resolved so I can move on with my life. Because this is, time is very precious. So that's one thing. The other thing that I learned how to do, but I didn't know the name of how it went until I listened to this book. This book, and it's funny because I just sent it to my son. Because that's the other thing is, my other issue is as I'm learning these lessons, as I'm growing up, and I have a very successful life. Full stop. Very successful. I'm happy. Almost all the time. I have an incredible partner. We work together on our own happiness. Yeah. I don't want for anything. I made decisions based on spiritual principles for a long enough time that I've built a life that the waters are pretty calm. Now, we have some turbulence, but they're not caused by us. They're just caused by life. And we are prepared to not collapse over them. We may get beat up a little bit, but either way. So the name of the book is called Never Split the Difference. It's by, what's the name of this guy? By Chris Voss. Right. And he touched on some stuff there that was like, yes. Oh my God, it's 8:00. Yes. Leaving short. She's asking me if I'm still at the shop. Yeah. So he touched on this thing, which I already knew how to do, but I knew that it was, there was something, and I learned a lot from these books. The guy he's a hostage negotiator, so it's not, he's a hostage. That's what he did, and he wrote a book about these things. And a lot of it has to do with listening and empathy and manipulation in the good sense of like, yeah. The hostage negotiator is supposed to be able to get the people to surrender without nobody dying, without no shots fired or whatever. Not hold them at bay until the guys can swing through the window and just kill the guy, because that's not good negotiating tactic. So, saying that to say this, here's the thing. All right, so there is a difference between empathy and sympathy. Now, I'm going to turn on Google to just do the definition. Empathy. Oh, look, it said empathy versus sympathy right away. Fucking, they're listening, bro. Hopefully they're listening to my show. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. The ability to. It doesn't mean that you do, but just the fact that, are you able to understand the feelings of another? Sympathy. Sympathy is feelings of pity and sorrow for someone else's misfortune. So here's the thing. So am I able to empathize with what is going on without having sympathy? Because sympathy, I was brought up that, like, if I sympathize with somebody, then I have to give in, and there was no empathy. It was just like, no, it's like, dude, like, if I feel, but yeah. Empathy and sympathy. So I can try to understand the other person's point of view and still stand on my own 2 feet and not feel threatened by somebody else's point of view. That's empathy. Sympathy is, I used to believe that I would be threatened by surrendering to the other person, so I wouldn't even acknowledge the other person. The other person's feelings, like, no. Like, it's almost like, you ever hear those sayings where, like, somebody they're not listening, they're just waiting to talk, and that was me, like, my whole life. Like, I had this little voice inside of me, and it's part of my sickness that it says, when is it going to be my turn? When is it going to be my turn? When is it going to be my turn? When am I going to matter? When am I going to matter? Nobody's going to love me unless I matter. I have to let everybody know how everything. And I didn't create space for anybody else's feelings or thoughts on anything. I fucking knew everything, And then I learned, even if I was right, I could still not be threatened by somebody else's ideas. Or not feel threatened and not be threatened. And that was like a huge thing. Because then it allowed me to see things clearly, and it allowed things to, like, marinate. And I love that concept. It turns that little boy who's inside of me, it turns him off and it makes him a man, And that was like a huge corner that I turned. That, like, my partner is my fucking partner. They're not the enemy. Now, in my regular life, you know, there could still be enemies. But if I'm threatened by them, I'll lose every time. You know, but if I'm not and I just listen, I can't maybe turn an enemy into a friend. I mean, that's, you know, you're asking a lot. But the idea that I can actually prosper more effectively with that kind of mindset, I find to be very true. It's almost like, you know, like guys on the street, you know, the really good ones, the really smart ones, guys on the street, they learn how to make money with people they don't like. Because the goal is to make money. Just like the goal is to get through Thanksgiving with people that you don't like. How do you do that? You know, how do you get through, what's the next one? Christmas and then New Year's. You know, I got to make some tough decisions when it comes to this freaking wedding list. You know? And that's the truth. And I'm going to make them. And I already spoke with my girl about that stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, these are things that we, you know, that I learned. And they're so useful. Empathy versus sympathy. You know? Yeah, other people's shit matters. But here we are. Either way. All right, guys. I'm going to sign off because I'm going into the fucking babbling mode. And I'm sure on the way home, I'm going to be like, fuck, I should have said this. You know, but it's okay. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. But I love you all, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace. Okay, everybody, we'd like to thank you for joining us on The Spiritual Experience. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, Pandora, everywhere. And please find us on Facebook where you can become part of our family. We'll see you around.